This episode is all about teachers and teacher business owners. So if you are a teacher, listen up. If you're not a teacher, this could also potentially benefit you, but I'm going to be specifically talking about some ways that teachers can make money online, because I know we have a lot of teachers in the audience. I am a former teacher, so my first business focused on teachers, and I know I brought a lot of you with me to this new business, and I actually have some news about that at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for some big changes coming. But I wanted to discuss some of the ways that I am seeing teachers make money online, how I make money online as a former teacher, and all of that jazz. So the main way that many of you probably know for making money online as a teacher is selling your resources, your lesson plans, worksheets, activities on a website called Teachers Pay Teachers, or TPT for short. And if you don't know what TPT is, it's basically a site where any teacher can sign up and they post their resources that they have created and other teachers can buy them. It's a great website because when I was in the classroom, I did not have a textbook and I was expected to have resources on my own, and I didn't know where I was going to get those. I was kind of just thrown to the wolves, and I didn't even know about TPT back then, but I started creating my own resources because I needed them. I didn't have like worksheets to go over the standards that I was supposed to be teaching. So that's kind of where my first business started. Was I taught myself how to create resources, worksheets, and all of that. And then maybe a few years later, I had a coworker who said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this site called Teachers Pay Teachers?" And I had probably heard of it, but I don't think I'd ever actually purchased anything from there. And I started looking and I said, man, first of all, what a great resource. And I ended up buying quite a few things from there when I didn't have the time to make them. But I also thought, maybe I could sell my own stuff on here. And that's what my coworker said. She had started her own TPT store. And at first I was very like, I don't have time for that. But the more I thought about it, I thought, why not? I'm already making these resources for my classroom. So I started listing them online. And that's kind of where my whole online business career began. That was back in 2017. So from there, I didn't really take it seriously for the first couple of years. I was just listing things online that I had made for my classroom. I don't even think I had like cover photos or descriptions or anything. But in 2019, I really started taking it seriously. I took a course about Teachers Pay Teachers, and for the last 3 years, I have replaced my teaching salary from TPT alone, and I really haven't touched my store in the last 2 years. So it is 100% passive income. I do not market it. I do not email my list really about TPT stuff. We do sometimes send out an email if there's a site-wide sale, but it's just like a template that I just copy paste. So literally very passive, which is amazing. However, I'm not saying that it was easy. I spent a lot of time creating resources and making sure that my store was performing the best that it could. I created 2 full curriculums, a geometry curriculum and an algebra 1 curriculum. And I actually, in order to have more listings, I split up all of the curriculum. So notes and worksheets, I would list those separately, and like an activity, and posters, and everything was listed separately. And then I would bundle them together for a discounted price. So I probably have over 350 resources. So I say all that to say, Teachers Pay Teachers can be a great way for teachers to make income. And I'm going to talk about some other ways also, but I asked on Instagram if people had questions about TPT specifically. So I wanted to kind of answer those questions. And I have a program about how to create resources and then how to sell them on Teachers Pay Teachers. I have a free training. You can find that at lindsaybowden.com/training. We'll put that link in the show notes below so that you can really kind of get your feet wet for creating resources if you're a teacher. But let me answer these questions. So the first one was about SEO, which if you don't know what that is, it's search engine optimization. And basically that's how are your resources going to be found? And the best thing that I can tell you to do is use keywords. So when you go to teacherspayteachers.com, there's a search bar and you can start typing and it will auto-populate some keywords for you. You want to use keywords that teachers are going to be searching for in your title and in your description, because that's how you're going to be found in the search. So I said before that I don't really market my store. All of my sales, I'm not going to say all, 95% of my sales come from teachers going to teacherspayteachers.com, searching for either an activity type or searching for a topic. They find my resource and then they buy it. So because I have really focused on keywords, they are going to find my resource. And then I also focused on making cover pictures, which are the little square pictures that you see when you search for something on TPT, that are clear and eye-catching and, easy to read, and teachers can click and they know exactly what they're going to get. And then also I have focused on previews, which are a preview of the resource, just so that teachers really know what they're buying. But back to SEO, keywords are really important. So as you are thinking about listing something on Teachers Pay Teachers, don't use cutesy words. Maybe don't use acronyms. You want to think about what teachers are going to be searching for and then put those phrases in your title and in your description. So an example I like to give is, and if you're not a math person, this might not make sense, but you'll still be able to follow along. I used to teach geometry, and there is a topic, and usually it's called parallel lines cut by a transversal. But another phrase that people might be searching for that's talking about the same thing is special angle pairs. So I make sure to put both of those key words and phrases in my title and in my description so that whichever one teachers are going to type in the search bar, they're going to find my resource. So that's what you want to be thinking about. And then the next one is right alongside this question, marketing help, how to be successful when TPT is overly saturated with resources, and then SEO. So I don't think it's oversaturated. It may be oversaturated with just kind of random resources, but I don't think it's oversaturated with quality resources. I do think that there is a big influx of teachers getting on TPT, but they don't know how to create quality resources and quality listings. So if you can really focus on those keywords like I was talking about, make clear cover photos and very good descriptions and previews, your listings are going to be way ahead of many that are already out there. And again, I talk all about this in my program. It's called The Resource Academy. It's where I train teachers how to create resources for their classroom and to sell online. There's a free training I have, lindsaybowden.com/training. So check that out if you're a teacher. Okay, the next question was pricing products. How do you price? There is no formula. There's no one size fits all, but I'll just tell you what I do. For activities, I try to price them at $3. I try not to price, or at least I tell people not to price below $3. I'm sure I have listings below $3 because, again, I haven't touched my store in over 2 years. But if a listing is below $3 and they just buy your one product, there's going to be a fee that's taken out, so you won't get as much of your money. But if it's $3 or more, that fee doesn't apply. So that's why I say try to get your resource quality enough so that you feel comfortable listing at $3. So any activities, task cards, mazes, scavenger hunts, all of those I list for $3. For my notes and worksheets, because I'm high school math, I list those at 50 cents a page. If you're elementary, you might want to go a little bit lower than that because it's not as content heavy. There's not as much on one page. But whereas high school, I'm taking a lot of time creating those graphs and graphics and making sure that the math works so I can price it a little bit more. I would say if you're just really confused on how to price a product, try to search on TPT and find a similar product and kind of get a good average. You don't want to go super low because then people are going to say, why is this product so cheap? I don't understand. And you don't want to outprice yourself. So kind of somewhere in the middle is usually good. And then once you're on TPT for a while, you can check your conversion rates. And if you have a really, really high conversion rate, then it might be time to bump up that price. A conversion rate means how many people buy versus how many people have seen the product. If, 50 people have seen the product and 25 of those people buy, that's a super high conversion rate of 50%. You may be able to bump up the price from there. I'm trying to think of other pricing that I use for study guides and tests. Those are $5. Again, it's math heavy. It's graphics and graphs. Posters, it just depends on how many posters there are. So again, just kind of search for similar products and find a good average. And then the last question I got was selling on your own website and not just TPT. So I do have my own website, lindsaybowden.com. It's a WordPress site, and I do have my resources listed on there. I made a WooCommerce store, and I sell on my own website as well. I do not make nearly as much money from my own website as I do from TPT. And I have pretty good traffic to my site because I spent a lot of time back in 2019 and 2020 blogging. Don't love blogging anymore, but I did back then. And I built a lot of SEO, so I get a lot of traffic to my site, but I don't get a ton of sales that way. I get way more sales on TPT, and I think that's for a few reasons. A lot of teachers know TPT, so instead of going to Google to search for something, they may just go to teacherspayteachers.com to search. Also, TPT has a good reputation. Teachers know about it. They know that what they're going to get is usually safe, not something that's going to scam them. So if it were me, I would spend my time creating quality resources and listing them on TPT. Now, there is talk and kind of like rumors about schools banning TPT, and I know for sure that there are schools that are doing that. I don't think it's widespread. I don't think it's going to be widespread anytime soon, but that is something to think about. So maybe really focus on building your Teachers Pay Teacher store in the beginning, but keep all those resources. And then if something happens with TPT, then you can list them on your own website. There are other websites out there as well. Like if you're in the UK, tes.com is kind of the UK equivalent to TPT. But I don't think there's a website out there right now that has the traffic that TPT does. TPT is international, so even if you're in the UK, Canada, Australia, you can list on there. That would be my go-to. Okay, so those were my TPT questions. Again, you can go to lindsaybowden.com/training to get started there. But I wanted to talk about a couple other things. So other ways that teachers can make money. And this also kind of leads into the announcement that I wanted to talk about. And I'm really going to talk about that next week when we wrap up season 1 of the Course Creation Mama podcast. But we are going to be making a shift to not only talking about courses, but talking about digital products as a whole. So courses and memberships, but I'm seeing a shift in the marketplace away from bigger courses and more towards smaller ticket items. So $97 or less, even more so $47 or less. So some other things that you could do, you could take units or lesson plan bundles for $17, and you can create funnels for those outside of TPT to sell them. So some things I'm seeing are from Instagram Reels, setting up Instagram Reels that are connected to ManyChat, which is an automated DM service. I'm going to talk more about this next week, so make sure you come back next week. But to sell those outside of TPT. And those quick, smaller purchases I am seeing doing very well on social media. When you showcase, hey, this is what all you're going to get in this bundle, type me to get the link, and then people type me and they get an automated DM. I'm sure you've seen those. So that is something to definitely look at if you're wanting to expand as a teacher business owner. Also, you don't have to just stick with what you're creating on TPT. You can think outside of that. Products for moms I'm seeing are doing really well. Now, I get served a lot of mom reels because I am a mom. I have a newborn baby, but I'm seeing a ton of great digital products for moms. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. You can expand from your TPT store and let your TPT store kind of work behind the scenes. That's what I've done. And then move to whatever niche that you want to. Maybe you're more passionate about something else. Don't be afraid. So next week, I'm really going to dive into digital product examples, what I'm seeing working, funnels that I'm seeing working, and kind of where this business is going to go throughout the summer. And when we get back for season 2 in the fall, it's going to be brand new, fresh for 2024 and 2025, what is working right now and what I think you should do. So I hope this was helpful if you are a teacher, and don't forget, come back next week to get all the details about where this podcast is going in the future.